Morena, welcome. Start with our karakia. Whakataka te ho ke te uru, whakataka te ho ke te tonga, kia ma kina kina ki uta, kia ma taratara ki tai, e he ake ane te atakakura, he te he huke he hohu, te he Māori ora. Any apologies? None that I'm aware of. You have someone move. Thank you, Nicole. Second, Shane. Thank you. All those in favour? Any conflicts of interest? None. That takes us on to confirmation of the minutes, which was the 3rd of October. Can I please have someone move that they are a true and accurate record? Yes. Second, thank you, Shane. All those in favour? Thank you. We've got our terms of reference information only, which then moves on to my verbal report. I actually was going to make reference to our annual report today, so I still want to make a comment to management, particularly finance. You know, it's a long journey. I spent most of Sunday reading page by page, line by line of that annual report. So there's a lot of work in there. It is very complex. I know that it's a long journey and we're almost there. So just as of the last couple of days, a few of the numbers may be moving between the auditors and ourselves. So the appropriate thing to do was to move that, and we'll have a special purpose meeting maybe in the coming week, hopefully. So we'll address that when we need to. The other thing I was going to highlight is in the last couple of days, I've been also involved with the CORD interviews for the new director to move on to CORD, and also just looking at the long list and short list for our independent for the Audit and Risk Committee, which is very exciting. And I just wanted to highlight that it was not refreshing is not the right word, but it was very exciting to see the high level of interest and of really quality candidates. And Brannigan's works through a process where they have a long list and then they have a short list, and then they almost do that first interview for us. And the very first question they ask the candidates is obviously the why. You know, why are you interested in Selwyn? And the feedback that we've received has been extremely positive. You know, and these are very, very experienced candidates that could be on any board anywhere in the world. So you know, a lot of them are very, very excited about Selwyn and what it's doing, and, you know, have a strong reputation that it's got. So that's great for us. And we will start commencing interviews for the second independent within the coming weeks. So I'll give you a further update on that as that comes. So that's all from me. I can move my report if someone can second that. Thank you, Phil. All those in favour? That moves us on to our manager's report. Oh, let me get in the right place. Oh, there's nothing there, isn't it? That takes us straight to the Treasury report, I think. So we've got a Treasury report, and then we'll move into the Treasury policy. But starting with the Treasury report, Alison would do her best to answer any questions if we've got any questions around the Treasury report.
Yes, I've just got an overarching question, and it's non-specific, but is there anything in that report that we should be concerned about?
No, there's nothing. I mean, the report itself is more of a status update and where things are at. There's nothing in there that sort of causes sort of any alarm at this point. I mean, obviously moving into the long-term plan, we just need to look at the debt situation.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions in relation to the Treasury report?
Kia ora, thank you, Madam Chair. Nice to meet you, Alison. Appreciate you being here today. I guess in relation to the long-term plan and headroom debt limit, like has already been said, it's a bit of a moving feast at the moment with the numbers and certain changes in policy will dependent, I guess. So, what's your initial gut feeling, I guess, on
Good question. I don't think we're there yet to be able to answer that question. We're still going through the financials to look we're not even at draft budget stage.
Yes.
So it's probably too early for me to respond to that one just now, Shane.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Shane. I reviewed the Treasury report, and as you said, Alison, it's just a good update, quarterly update of where things are at. Noticing that we do have a little bit of our debt dropping off in March and April. Only a small amount that's sitting at 3%, but then we've got what 25 mil dropping off in April. Is it? So that's currently at 5.6, but I noticed that the floating rate on the recent renewals is around that as well. So there's not going to be a material difference in that rate when we roll them in April?
No, I don't think so, not at this stage, not based on the advice we've got from PwC.
Yeah. But that was all from me. If there were any other questions in regard to the Treasury.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I just had one more. Sorry, I missed it at the end. It's a question that does get asked, but we've got someone else new in the seat. So just around cash on call, and would you, the amount that's on cash on call, is that, in your opinion, sufficient amount? Can that be reduced, or?
It's sufficient for where we are just now, but obviously moving into long-term plan, we just need to keep that under review.
Thank you.
Put my microphone on, put the Treasury policy review. Now I have reviewed this in detail. It's obviously a part of the circular kind of update and review, and most of it is around role changes and some kind of tweaks to some of the wording. But there is, get the right page. In effect, there is a request from management. I'm going to turn it on. Although we can review it from a risk perspective, and I'm comfortable that the right controls are in there to mitigate the risk, there is still a request in there around the ability to take on more debt. And I think in uncertain times around interest rates at the moment, and also our long-term plan and obviously affordable waters, there's a little bit else going on. So the affordability question, I would like to be asked, I'd like the Finance and Performance Committee to have a view on that. So if looking at me very peculiarly, but if everyone was else in favour, I actually think it's more appropriate that the changes to the policy are reviewed and approved by the Finance and Performance Committee. View on that?
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's fine. That sounds good. But I think we should invite you to be a part of that discussion, so that your expertise is filled in with the rest of the councillors at the table at that time. But happy that be the process. To chair, Shane, that'll be through one of your committees. So if you're happy that that's the process, that suits me. But I do think your presence there would be good, Annalisa.
Yeah, we can absolutely do that.
I think that ultimately the decision about the policy goes to council anyway, so it just goes through the. I wonder whether, as it's the the Finance Committee and Council are the same people, whether we should just defer it directly to Council for consideration?
Well, it depends on whether council are relying on the expertise of the subcommittees to make that endorsement, because the subcommittee is still making a recommendation to council. So I would still like the role of the finance and when you look at the terms of reference of the finance and performance committee, I would like them to consider the affordability question on raising it, I think, from 180 to 220%.
Yep.
That's
Thanks.
a good question for them to ponder and have a view on. So I'm more than happy to be a part of that. It won't be a long meeting. It could be, I don't think there is a meeting scheduled, Shane, before year end, calendar year end, but we can have a special purpose, half an hour, 1 hour, all it will take. So if everyone's in agreement with that approach, Nicole, are you happy with that?
Well, my questions were just around the process of how we were going to approve that, because so going to the Finance and Expenditure Committee and reviewing it there, so that means that then it will be recommended to be adopted for the long-term plan process as the recommendation from this committee. I'm just wondering how it fits in with what we're doing.
So we discussed this a couple of days ago on the approach and the process. So I think it was fine for it to stay because we considered pulling it from this agenda.
So you've already talked about it before.
Yeah, we've discussed it. So I think it's appropriate that it's come to this committee. And my view is that it does, there needs to be a view from the Finance and Performance Committee. And then they should make the recommendation, or we can make the recommendation together. I'm happy to be there.
No, I think that sounds right. It's just that so that we've had be able to talk through all any issues that we've found on this is easily being able to be spoken at that committee level.
Yeah. And it's just that, as I say, it's just that one liner around the request for more debt, or to take on the ability to take on more debt.
So the rest of the policies we're going to discuss now.
I think to keep it clean and consistent, I think it's that the other subcommittee does the full review and questioning of it and makes the endorsement and the recommendation.
Yep. No.
But absolutely, if you have any questions or comments about it, then as I've got Deborah here also, the ability to push questions to the subcommittee in your role as a councillor, you can absolutely do that as well.
Yep. No, I'll bring up the things that I've got on there. It probably would come up there anyway.
Yeah. But rather than kind of fragment the policy and us do a bit and them do a bit, I think it'll just be cleaner if the whole policy goes to.
I'm happy with that. I just wanted clarification on how it's going to work.
Is everyone else comfortable with that approach?
The question on that is around the time frame need for this decision to be made.
Yeah.
And is it being made in February, March? Fine. Or does that need to be made before that? In which case, having a recommendation from this committee today will just help with the direction, and it'll still be subject to council endorsement of the policy. But because we've got a council meeting before the end of the year. We don't have a committee meeting before the end of the year. So if there is a time frame pressure, I just think we need to consider that.
Yeah, but I think we can just cover it off by having a special purpose, half an hour meeting with that subcommittee within the next couple of weeks. Yeah. So I don't think there is anything else in the manager's report.
Do a resolution for that.
Shane's got his light on.
Oh, sorry, Shane.
Thanks, Madam Chair. And initially, I didn't have a problem with actually having the robust discussion around the table here. And if we're only delaying the process for the recommendation to move the full council, then I initially didn't see the problem with that. And my questioning, I guess, moving forward will be around the determination and the ability to allow for more rigour with the lift, because it is quite a significant change in the fundamental structure and strategy of this council, and one that certainly signals the the intentions of an LTP. So to Sam's question around timelines, annual plans and long-term plans, if we're not delaying that process in step with having, because I believe it would be longer than a half an hour conversation, at least it should be on these particular Treasury investment policies, potentially we could be delaying it. So, but if you've done the work on that timeline, then I'm quite happy to support it and have the discussion then at the next finance or an extraordinary one.
Yeah, extraordinary meeting. And I don't think it will take that long. So I don't want to dive into debating it here because we should debate it in that meeting. But, you know, it is a shift from 180 to 220. It is still within the GA guidelines. You know, there's process behind that around business cases and capital expenditure. And so there's a lot already. There's a lot of control around that. But I just want the question to be asked and for management to be able to provide the opportunity for them to provide that back. But
absolutely, and I think that's been a question that's been asked a lot around an increase. So yeah, I'd support it.
So let's try and schedule a special purpose extraordinary meeting within the next week or so to do that with the Finance and Performance Committee. Yeah.
Policy review and the management investment.
So do we need a resolution on that
Yeah,
we
it's just
have,
gonna
we make a recommendation that
Yep, because that needs to be changed to what we're agreeing to do.
so the Audit and Risk Committee makes a has made a recommendation that the recommendation to council should come from the Finance and Performance Committee. Yeah.
That's a good recommendation.
Yep. Happy to move that, Madam Chair.
Is that? Thank you, Shane. Phil, second. All those in favour? All right. Good. Okay. That moves us into resolution to move into public excluded. Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, thank you. All those in favour?
Right.